ever found yourself drawn to someone completely unexpected? Only to realize that connection turns your whole world upside down, reveals layers of yourself and others too that you never knew existed. Today, we're diving deep into a story that explores exactly that.
Yeah, our deep dive today, it really takes us into this intricate, often tumultuous landscape. We're talking human connection, ambition, and the profound weight of personal vulnerability. We're sifting through this collection of intensely personal narratives. It's almost like eavesdropping, isn't it? On these heartfelt confessions, these raw emotional encounters.
Totally.
And our mission really is to unpack the complex dynamics of this burgeoning relationship, to try and understand the powerful forces pulling people together, even when, logic, personal ambition, external pressures, they're all trying to keep them apart.
And the sources we're using today, they're really something. We're drawing from a series of candid first-person accounts, close observations too, gives us this rare glimpse into the inner lives, the public struggles of these two young individuals, Johnny and Shannon.
And the people around them who play such pivotal roles.
Exactly. It's like getting a direct download of their thoughts, their fears, and this undeniable connection they seem to have.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our initial source, it drops us right into Johnny's bewildered state. He's confiding in his best friend, Gibbsy, with this incredibly raw admission. He says, I like her, Gibbs. I think I really like her, man. Like, really, as in a lot more than fucking like.
Wow, straight out the gate.
Yeah. And what's immediately clear is, this isn't just some casual crush for him. He is completely flustered. And for someone like Johnny, who seems known for being collected, in control, that's a major shakeup.
It really is.
He's even explicitly stated he doesn't want these feelings, yet here they are, sort of challenging his whole carefully constructed world.
You've absolutely hit on a critical point there. What's fascinating, I think, is how fundamentally this feeling disorients Johnny. He actually says, I don't want to like her, and admits he's completely fucking rattled.
Rattled, that's the word he uses.
Yeah, and for someone who, from all accounts, seems to pride himself on control, on having this firm grip on his emotions, his life path. Gibbsy even points it out, right? He says, Shannon has you rattled and you're panicking because you've never felt rattled a day in your life. So this emotional upheaval, it's totally unprecedented for him and deeply unsettling. It's more than just discomfort, I think. It feels almost like an existential threat to his self-schema, that internal blueprint of who he thinks he is.
Yeah, like his whole identity is threatened.
Exactly. It's a loss of that internal equilibrium. It forces him to confront this new reality about himself, his emotional landscape, one he clearly hasn't mapped out before. And this kind of profound emotional disruption, it often marks a significant turning point, doesn't it? It forces someone to either, integrate this new experience or, I suppose, deny a fundamental part of themselves. So this rattling isn't just some fleeting feeling. It's a direct challenge to his core identity, like you said. You can almost feel his discomfort, can't you?
Yeah.
With something so powerful, he can't just intellectualize it or control it. It isn't just about a girl, is it? It feels like it's about his own internal experience of something he's never faced before. It forces him to confront a vulnerability he didn't even know was there.
That's spot on.
It's almost as if his meticulously planned life, centered around rugby, this controlled image, it's suddenly being undermined by an emotion he just can't categorize or manage.
That's precisely it. His whole emotional framework seems built on this foundation of self-control, calculated decisions, especially concerning his athletic ambitions, his public persona.
Right.
And this sudden, intense emotional response to Shannon, which he clearly can't just compartmentalize or brush aside, it threatens that very foundation. It's the kind of profound internal disruption that, it forces a reevaluation of priorities, of self-perception. It really marks a significant turning point in his personal story.
Right.
And the fact he's even admitting it.
Right. Admitting this level of rattle to Gibbsy, who he seems to trust deeply, it just shows the sheer impact Shannon is having. It signifies this profound internal conflict where his carefully built defenses are starting to crack under the weight of genuine, unexpected feeling.
So what is it about Shannon then? What's so captivating for Johnny, especially given that initial resistance? He tells Gibbsy that after driving her home, they talked for hours, and not just about rugby, Gibbs, about all random pointless bullshit that should have bored me to tears. It didn't.
That line is so telling.
Isn't it? He finds her so goddamn easy to talk to Gibbs like you wouldn't believe. This clearly isn't the typical conversation he has. What does that reveal about the nature of their connection?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really suggests that beyond any, surface level attraction, there's a profound intellectual and emotional resonance at play.
Resonance. That's a good word.
The ability to engage in long, effortless conversation, even about what he calls pointless bullshit, it speaks to a rare and valuable connection for Johnny. For someone whose life seems so focused on high-stakes performance, rugby, public image, maintaining a certain persona, this ease of conversation is a profound contrast.
A relief, maybe?
Maybe. It feels like a genuine meeting of minds, of spirits. It indicates this foundational element of true compatibility that he clearly hasn't experienced before. This isn't just idle chatter, right? It's a window into an authentic connection that transcends his usual highly structured, goal-oriented interactions. It offers a sense of psychological safety he might not even have realized he was missing.
It's almost as if he's discovering a part of himself, or maybe a type of interaction, that he didn't realize he needed. This effortless communication seems to draw him in precisely because it is so different from the calculated conversations he might usually have as this aspiring athlete.
I think so.
It speaks to a level of comfort and ease that must be deeply appealing, especially for someone who, as we've seen, struggles with control and vulnerability. It offers a glimpse into a space where he doesn't have to be Johnny the rugby player. He can just be Johnny.
Exactly. For Johnny, operating in this high-stakes environment where every interaction might be viewed through the lens of reputation, career advancement, the genuine ease of talking to Shannon offers this profound sense of relief, authenticity.
Yeah.
It's a space where he doesn't have to perform, doesn't have to be guarded. And that's a rare commodity for him, I imagine. This ease, even about trivial stuff, it highlights a profound sense of psychological safety, this natural rapport. It signifies a much deeper connection than he initially seems willing to admit.
Goes beyond just liking her.
It points to a compatibility that goes way beyond physical attraction or shared interests. It delves into the realm of true emotional resonance. It's almost as if Shannon offers him this respite from the constant pressure, a true moment of unburdened connection. And that's incredibly powerful for someone in his position.
Then things take a turn. Something truly unexpected happens with Johnny's disclosure about his surgery. This is where it gets really interesting. He makes this massive, unplanned disclosure, tells Shannon about the surgery, a secret he clearly guards intensely.
Huge.
And then, as he puts it, I lost my shot on her. Why? I panicked, Dibs. He's terrified that if a word got back to under-20s coach that I'm not fully fit, it can jeopardize his dreams, his whole future.
That reaction.
It's a huge slip for him, right? And his reaction is immediate and severe. What does this moment reveal about his inner world?
Oh, this incident is highly revealing. It tells us so much about Johnny's internal landscape, the immense pressure he's under, his panic reaction, which is an extreme overreaction, leading him to think he made Shannon cry. He says, I'm pretty sure I made her cry.
Yeah.
It just underscores his deep-seated anxiety about his career.
It's all tied to rugby.
Absolutely. The unexpected vulnerability followed by this immediate regret, intense self-reproach. It showcases his struggle with revealing any weakness, his profound fear of the consequences. This isn't just a secret, it's a vulnerability that, in his mind, could unravel his entire future.
So the outburst is really just fear manifesting.
Exactly. It highlights how his ambition dictates so much of his emotional responses, even when they're counterproductive to the very connection he's forming. This intense, almost visceral reaction to his own vulnerability suggests this deep-seated fear of being perceived as anything less than perfectly strong, perfectly capable.
And then comes the real surprise. Shannon apologizes to him the next morning. What does that surprising action from Shannon reveal about her character?
Yeah.
I mean, considering Johnny was the one who lost his shit on her, it's completely counterintuitive.
It really is. Shannon's apology in this context is incredibly telling. It speaks volumes about her unique empathy and perhaps a deep-seated desire to avoid conflict at all costs.
Avoids conflict.
Despite being on the receiving end of Johnny's harsh outburst, maybe even being made to cry, her first instinct is to apologize. This suggests a profound capacity for empathy, yes, but also maybe a tendency towards self-blame.
You think?
Possibly. It could be rooted in her own past experiences with conflict, with trauma maybe, where she might have learned that keeping the peace sometimes comes at the cost of her own feelings. It reveals this highly sensitive, conciliatory nature, someone who values peace, harmony, even at her own emotional expense.
So she's smoothing things over, even though she wasn't in the wrong.
It seems that way. It also highlights this unique understanding or maybe intuition about Johnny's underlying distress. It prompts her to offer reassurance rather than demanding an apology from him. And this action immediately sets her apart from probably anyone else in his life. It likely profoundly impacts him.
How?
Well, she's not reacting with anger or indignation, right? She's reacting with understanding.
Yeah.
which speaks volumes about her capacity for forgiveness and maybe her desperate desire to maintain this connection, especially with someone who's shown her even a sliver of genuine interaction before this blow-up.
Okay, moving into our next section, we're calling it webs of pressure. It becomes really clear that Johnny and Shannon's nascent connection isn't just an internal struggle for them. It's immediately put under immense external pressure.
Right, the outside world intrudes.
Yeah. Despite his internal conflict, his stated desire to distance himself, Johnny repeatedly finds himself drawn back to Shannon. He confesses to Gibbsy that he snatched her back or forced her into taking a spin home after school, admitting, "I couldn't let her go."
He couldn't let her go.
And it's not a one-off, it's a repeated pattern, almost compulsive. What does this recurring behavior tell us about the power of their bond?
Well, this recurring behavior, it powerfully illustrates the almost compulsive nature of his attraction to Shannon. It's overriding his rational thoughts, his stated intentions. His actions directly contradict what he says he wants to do, which is focus on his career.
Right, the head versus heart thing?
Exactly. It reveals this profound internal struggle between his ambition and his burgeoning feelings. That repeated phrase, "I couldn't let her go," it speaks volumes, doesn't it? About the emotional grip Shannon has on him. It's overpowering his conscious efforts to maintain distance, to prioritize his professional path.
It's a fascinating look at that struggle.
Yeah.
Rational thought versus overpowering emotion.
And the emotion is undeniably winning out here. This isn't just about desire, it's about an inability to disconnect. It hints at a very deep, almost fated connection that challenges his very definition of self-control. It must create significant cognitive dissonance for Johnny.
Yeah, where his actions just don't align with his beliefs, causing this internal turmoil he clearly can't resolve.
Precisely. It's as if an invisible force is pulling them together, despite his best efforts to resist. He knows what he should do, right? What's logical for his career, but what he feels for her is just far stronger. It's overriding his sense of discipline, his responsibility towards his career.
So it highlights this deep internal conflict where his carefully constructed priorities are just crumbling in the face of this unexpected, powerful emotional bond. He's wrestling with the very core of his identity, the disciplined athlete versus the person experiencing this undeniable emotional connection.
That's a great way to put it. This dynamic really underscores the powerful, often irrational nature of human connection, especially when it challenges established life paths. For Johnny, who is so driven by logic and ambition, this repeated failure to distance himself represents a significant challenge to his self-perception and control.
It suggests Shannon embodies something essential.
Something essential that he's deeply drawn to, yeah. A form of authenticity or genuine connection that is profoundly compelling, even threatening, to his established life path. This struggle between head and heart is absolutely central here. It indicates this relationship is poised to challenge his very definition of self, forcing him to reconsider what truly holds value in his life.
It's a classic battle, external expectation versus internal desire.
And for now, desire seems to be winning, despite the cost.
And then suddenly, a new volatile dynamic enters their lives. In the form of Bella, Johnny's on-again, off-again girlfriend. Her entrance is dramatic, confronting Johnny with, "What are you doing to that poor girl?"
Oh boy, here comes the drama Shannon wants to avoid.
Exactly. It immediately sets this hostile tone, and it evolves into direct threats towards Shannon. Bella labels her a slut, a stupid little bratch, and openly states, "Whatever little drama you are having in that bathroom cubicle will pale in comparison to the hell I will rain down on you if you even think about going out with him."
Wow, direct threat.
So, what's Bella's role in this unfolding drama?
Well, Bella serves as this potent external pressure. She embodies the social stakes, the reputation game that Johnny's world operates within. Her confrontational, possessive behavior is clearly designed to intimidate Shannon, to assert her own dominance.
Relational aggression.
Precisely. It highlights a toxic dynamic you often see in social hierarchies, where that kind of aggression is used to maintain perceived status. And Shannon, given what we're learning about her history, is particularly vulnerable to this kind of attack.
Absolutely.
But what's truly critical here is how Bella weaponizes information about Shannon's past. She reveals she knows everything, including Shannon's mother's attempt to suspend Johnny for injuring Shannon earlier.
Whoa, how does she know that?
Good question, but she uses it. This directly ties Johnny's reputation, his need to keep his nose squeaky clean for the academy, right into the conflict. It escalates the personal stakes massively for both Johnny and Shannon by making their connection this public spectacle with direct career implications.
So Bella isn't just jealous.
No, she's calculated. Dangerous. She's pulling private, sensitive information into the public arena to inflict maximum damage.
This takes the external pressure to a whole new level, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just a personal confrontation. It's a direct threat to their public standing and, crucially, to Johnny's future, something he's intensely focused on. Bella understands precisely where to hit them both where it hurts most, making their connection a liability. She's exposing what they both clearly want to keep private, especially given Shannon's deep desire for no drama.
It absolutely does. Bella's actions illustrate the harsh realities of the social environment they're in, where reputation, perception can directly impact your future. Her ability to unearth and weaponize Shannon's personal history, linking it to Johnny's precarious standing with the Academy, it creates a very real, tangible threat. It goes far beyond mere romantic rivalry.
Yeah.
This forces Johnny and Shannon to confront the very public consequences of their private feelings. It adds immense pressure to their already complicated dynamic. It's a stark reminder that their relationship isn't just their own. It's viewed, it's judged by this powerful external system that demands conformity and penalizes deviation.
And this kind of public shaming, this threat, it must be particularly devastating for someone with Shannon's history.
Which brings us right to Shannon's own story, yeah. As we delve deeper, we uncover her own profound vulnerabilities, this deeply traumatic past. She references her father's potential for violence. If he ever put his hands on me again, I should grab a weapon, and her brother taking a beating because of her.
That's incredibly dark.
It is. And even more starkly, she confesses her past at another school, BCS. She says she was hurt every day to the point that I wanted to die bad enough that my mom had to bury herself in debt to transfer me to Tommen.
Oh my God. Just heartbreaking to hear. It casts a whole new light on her behavior, doesn't it?
It provides absolutely critical context for Shannon's character, her deep-seated timidity, her desperate need for no drama, her constant search for a safe place to fall, her physical flinching, her avoidance of conflict. They aren't just personality traits. They are direct, learned responses to prolonged trauma and abuse.
So it's a trauma response we're seeing.
Absolutely. What this points to is the development of a complex trauma response. It manifests as hypervigilance, a desperate need for control over her environment, especially in social interactions. The lie she tells about the Legos and a PE injury to cover up physical marks.
Yeah, marks from her father or other attackers.
It seems implied. It's a heartbreaking attempt to hide her reality, a classic survival mechanism developed from years of suffering and silence. And the irony when she states to Johnny, "You are the last person who can help me."
Why did she say that?
It highlights her ingrained belief that any association with trouble, even from someone trying to protect her, like Johnny, will only lead to more pain, regardless of the helper's intentions. She sees herself, perhaps, as a magnet for negativity, making her incredibly guarded, wary of new connections, even those that offer potential safety. Because her past has taught her that help can often turn into more pain.
Her experience at BCS sounds utterly devastating, shaping her entire approach to new situations, new relationships. It explains why she's so desperate for no drama and why Bella's threats would be so profoundly terrifying. It's like reigniting old wounds.
Definitely. It's not just a threat to her reputation. It's a threat to her very sense of safety, her well-being. Her past at BCS isn't just a memory. It's an actively re-traumatizing force in her present.
How so?
The constant fear of being hurt, physically, emotionally, has conditioned her to seek invisibility, avoid any form of confrontation. This explains her extreme reaction to Bella's threats. It directly mirrors the systematic abuse, the feeling of helplessness she endured. It fundamentally impacts her ability to trust, to believe in the possibility of a safe place to fall.
So Johnny's protective instincts.
They're both compelling and deeply terrifying for her, because any form of trouble or attention, even positive attention, has historically led to pain for her. It gives us a profound understanding of her fragility, her ingrained self-preservation mechanisms, honed through years of trying to survive in hostile environments.
Okay, let's turn now to Johnny's profound secret. We're moving to our next section, the weight of secrets. He confesses to Gibbsy the horrifying truth of his physical condition. He says, "My dick works, Gibbs. I get hard asshole. It just hurts when I can't finish.
Yeah.
The last time I tried it was so painful that I puked my guts up and almost passed out."
Wow, the level of intimacy in that confession.
It's brutal. And this isn't a recent injury. It's been months since he last tried, dating back to Stevens night.
Yeah.
This is far more severe than just a sports injury. It's deeply intimate, embarrassing, and debilitating.
This is an incredibly intimate, revealing detail. It underscores the depth of Johnny's physical and psychological suffering. It's not merely a rugby injury, it's a condition that impacts his fundamental physical, emotional well-being. It strikes at the core of his masculinity, his sense of self-worth, potentially his future relationships.
And the severity.
The severity causing intense pain, vomiting, near unconsciousness. It highlights the immense personal burden he carries, a secret far more profound than just, a pulled hamstring. And Gibbsie's horrified reaction. Holy shit, Johnny, that's months ago. You need to come, lad.
Yeah, Gibbsie's panicked.
His panicked speculation about potential medical error. What if they screwed you back together wrong? It just further emphasizes the gravity, the long-term implications of this hidden condition. It's a constant threat to his future, both on and off the field. This secret weighs so heavily on him, it influences every emotional state, every interaction he has. It drives his guardedness to extreme levels.
This revelation truly reframes everything about Johnny's behavior, doesn't it? His guardedness, his panic, his attempts to push Shannon away, it all makes this terrifying kind of sense now.
It really does.
He's not just protecting his rugby career, he's protecting a deeply painful, embarrassing, potentially debilitating personal truth that impacts his very identity as a man. It's a secret that could shatter his entire carefully constructed life.
Absolutely. This injury becomes the central driving force behind his intense anxiety, his seemingly contradictory actions. It transforms his ambition from mere desire into this desperate necessity. His athletic career might be the only future he feels he can rely on if this intimate aspect of his life is compromised.
So the stakes are even higher than we thought.
Immensely higher. The emotional and physical pain he's constantly experiencing, coupled with the profound fear of exposure, potential long-term impairment, it explains his fierce self-protection, his struggle with vulnerability. It paints a picture of a young man under immense, almost unbearable pressure. He's not just chasing a dream, he's fighting for a future, any future that feels viable, which explains his single-minded focus, his reluctance to let anything or anyone threaten it.
And that future seems inextricably linked to his rugby career. Johnny's entire identity, his future, it seems tied up in it. He repeatedly stresses, I need to stay on track. And Shannon makes my mind stray so far from the beaten track it sounds ridiculous.
The distraction is dangerous for him.
Exactly. He faces this critical, undisclosed test for the under-20s team. He states, if I don't pass, if they find out I'm not 100%, they'll pull me. And I'll be out for months, Shannon, months. I'll miss my shot with the under-20s in June. I'll lose everything that can't fucking happen.
The desperation there is palpable.
What does this intense focus on his career signify for him, especially now knowing about the injury?
Well, it reveals the profound why behind so much of Johnny's guarded, often contradictory behavior. His ambition isn't just a desire. It's a desperate necessity tied to his entire life path. Perhaps even a way to escape or compensate for the hidden pain and vulnerability of his injury.
A coping mechanism, almost.
Could be. The impending U20s test is a make-or-break moment, a gatekeeping event that dictates his entire perceived future. This transforms every decision, every interaction into this high-stakes gamble. This immense pressure, it often overrides his immediate feelings, leading him to attempt to push Shannon away even as he's drawn to her.
It's a powerful illustration, isn't it? Of the sacrifices, the internal conflicts demanded by those high-level aspirations, where personal happiness often feels secondary to professional survival.
Absolutely. His future, as he sees it, is entirely dependent on this test, making any perceived distraction, like Shannon, a significant threat to his very survival in his mind.
It sounds like his entire self-worth, his very identity, is wrapped up in this career. The thought of losing it is akin to losing himself, which explains the sheer terror, the extreme measures he takes to protect it, even pushing away someone he's clearly deeply drawn to. This isn't just about playing a sport for him, it's about his survival, his sense of purpose, maybe his only path to validation.
It truly is. For Johnny, rugby isn't just a game. It's his chosen path, his escape, potentially his only reliable source of validation and control. The hidden injury, compounded by the crucial U20s test, it creates this existential crisis for him.
Yeah.
Every interaction, especially with Shannon, is filtered through the lens of how it might impact his performance or expose his vulnerability. His desperate need to stay on track is a desperate plea for self-preservation in the face of immense pressure and a terrifying secret. This profound anxiety dictates much of his emotional unavailability, his self-sabotaging behavior when it comes to forming deeper personal connections. Because for him, connection equals risk, and risk could cost him everything.
But then, amidst all this turmoil, there's this moment. In a moment of intense embarrassment for Shannon, she whispers to Johnny, I'm after getting my period. It's my first one.
Oh, wow. For her, that must be mortifying to admit.
Totally. But his reaction is remarkably empathetic. He immediately seeks ibuprofen from his gear bag and tells her, "Don't do that. Be embarrassed. It's natural, Shannon." He even explicitly says, "I don't know shit at all about what's going on with your body, but I hope it fracked off soon."
Yeah, classic Johnny bluntness, but the care is there.
Exactly. It's this surprising display of tender care from him, especially given his usual guardedness and self-focus. What makes this moment so pivotal?
This moment is indeed pivotal. It showcases the surprisingly tender, genuinely caring side of Johnny that sharply contrasts with his earlier panic outburst about the surgery. Despite his evident discomfort with unfamiliar female issues, which he admits are foreign to me, he immediately prioritizes Shannon's immediate pain and embarrassment.
With practical help and reassuring words.
Exactly. His direct, unfiltered compassion cuts through the social awkwardness. It fosters a deeper, more intimate connection. It demonstrates that his protective instincts extend beyond just physical safety. They reach into her personal well-being, which is a rare and significant act from someone so self-focused on his career.
And it comes right after he defended her against Bill.
Right. It reinforces his protective nature, regardless of the public eye. This shows a genuine care that transcends his ambition, even his own discomfort. It reveals a capacity for empathy he rarely, if ever, allows himself to display.
It's a really stark contrast, isn't it? To his earlier panicked reaction when she accidentally discovered his surgery secret. Here, he's the picture of calm, protective, even gentle.
It really is striking.
It suggests that despite his internal battles, the immense pressure he's under, his core impulse is to care for her, even in moments he might find personally awkward or uncomfortable. This isn't just a fleeting act of kindness. It feels like a window into the protective nature of his feelings for Shannon.
I agree. This moment highlights a crucial aspect of Johnny's character, his capacity for profound empathy and protective loyalty, particularly towards Shannon. While he struggles with his own vulnerabilities, the external pressures of his career, his immediate response to Shannon's distress is to alleviate her suffering, regardless of his personal discomfort.
It shows the unique space she occupies for him.
Absolutely. It contrasts sharply with his earlier self-protective outbursts and demonstrates the unique space Shannon occupies in his emotional world. It's a powerful indicator that his true feelings for her run deep, extending beyond any superficial attraction or casual interest. This interaction solidifies the depth of their burgeoning bond, built on genuine care, unexpected understanding. It shows that beneath the hardened exterior of the driven athlete, there's a profoundly tender heart when it comes to Shannon.
Okay, let's move into emotional reckoning. Johnny finally initiates that difficult conversation in the car. He's attempting to explain his future. He tells Shannon he's leaving in a couple of months for longer stints away, more traveling, permanent moves, emphasizing, "I can't give you a relationship, Shannon, and it would be selfish of me to ask you for something I can't follow through on."
Oof, the difficult conversation.
Yeah. He admits, "I'm mad about you," but states he's trying to do the right thing here. He's trying to protect her, it seems. But does it land that way for Shannon?
Well, this is Johnny's attempt at a preemptive emotional withdrawal, isn't it? Driven by what he perceives as responsible self-sacrifice, given his demanding future, their age difference maybe, he's trying to protect Shannon from future disappointment, even as he expresses deep affection. But his intentions get lost in translation for Shannon. She interprets it as the rejection I've been waiting for. This is such a classic communication breakdown. You see it often in relationships where individuals operate from completely different emotional blueprints.
Yeah, her past experiences color how she hears it.
Exactly. Her response, "I didn't ask you for a relationship, Johnny. I've never asked you for anything." It highlights her humiliation, her desire for a connection that doesn't involve him letting her down gently. This interaction just underscores that frequent misalignment between intent and impact in complex emotional situations, especially when profound vulnerabilities, insecurities are at play.
Shannon's past makes her particularly susceptible.
To perceiving abandonment, rejection, yeah. Even when it's not the intention. She's been let down so many times, it seems, she's primed to see it again, even here.
This really highlights how their individual pasts, their insecurities, just filter their perceptions. Johnny's trying to be honorable, responsible, but Shannon's history with rejection, perceived abandonment, it means she hears something entirely different. It's a tragic miscommunication, isn't it?
It really is.
Both of them are trying to protect themselves and each other maybe, but their internal maps of the world lead them to vastly different interpretations of the same words.
It is a profound example of how personal baggage can create these seemingly insurmountable barriers to genuine understanding, even when intentions are good. Johnny, attempting to control a narrative, minimize future pain, unintentionally triggers Shannon's deepest feels of being unwanted, a burden.
And her saying she didn't ask for a relationship.
It's less about the technicality of their connection, I think, and more about her asserting her dignity, trying to avoid the pain of dismissal. This moment serves as a poignant reminder that even with the best intentions, our actions can have unintended, deeply hurtful consequences when communication isn't clear and empathy isn't fully reciprocal in understanding the other's internal world. It's a testament to the complexities of human connection, where vulnerabilities can inadvertently clash.
Then perhaps the most raw and intimate moment unfolds. On the bus. Johnny, in this moment of profound vulnerability, pulls Shannon close and confesses his deepest fears. He admits, "I'm scared, Shannon." Scared of what? You, me.
Wow, just lays it bare.
Totally. He lays bare the full extent of his hidden injury, the constant pain, the impending critical test, the terrifying prospect of losing his entire career, his future, his life's. He explicitly states, "I've handed that kind of power over to you," confessing, "I don't make myself vulnerable to anyone, ever."
This is huge for Johnny.
It's a complete stripping away of his persona.
Yeah.
A radical act for someone so guarded. What makes this moment so significant for him?
This is Johnny completely stripping away his guarded persona. It's an unprecedented act for him. He's not just revealing a secret, he's admitting profound fear, desperation, and an unprecedented level of trust in Shannon.
The trust is key?
Absolutely. The intimacy of his confession, delivered in that hushed tone, close physical proximity. It signifies that Shannon has uniquely pierced his defenses in a way no one else has. It's a moment of radical vulnerability. He shares something he's kept hidden from everyone, including Gibbsy, his best friend, for months.
Something deeply shameful for him.
Yes. This act speaks volumes about the unique, profound impact Shannon has had on his carefully constructed emotional barriers. It shows he perceives her as someone truly safe, a repository for his deepest anxieties, someone capable of understanding the magnitude of his burden, his fear of losing everything. He's essentially handing her the keys to his deepest fears, trusting her with his entire future in that moment.
And Shannon's response. It's equally striking, isn't it? A perfect mirror of vulnerability and empathy. She tells him, "I don't want you to play. I want you to stop. I want you to rest your body. I want you to take care of yourself."
She sees him, not just the athlete.
Exactly. And there's this powerful vow, "I promise I'll keep yours." She offers him the very thing he's struggling to give himself permission to be vulnerable, to heal, and to trust.
Shannon's words demonstrate her profound empathy, her genuine concern for Johnny as a person. Prioritizing his immediate well-being, his long-term health, over his athletic success, her plea for him to rest, to heal, it contrasts so sharply with his ambition. It shows a different path forward for him, one focused on personal care rather than that relentless pursuit of external goals.
And her promise.
Her promise to keep his secret, I can keep a secret, Johnny Cavanaaugh, it solidifies the unique bond forming between them. A bond built on shared vulnerability, unwavering trust. This mutual exchange of deeply personal fears and promises is a foundational moment in their connection. It moves them past that earlier misunderstanding in the car into this realm of profound reciprocal trust.
At the level of intimacy
that few people ever achieve, yeah. Where true safety is found in shared vulnerability, it speaks to a deep, evolving attachment between them.
Okay, so after his rugby match, things escalate medically. Johnny is rushed to the hospital due to his injury, and while he's high on medication, he blurts out, "I love you, Shannon. I'm so in love with you."
Oh my. In vino veritas, or in morphine veritas.
Something like that. And later, "She'll have my babies. You'll have my babies, won't you?" He repeatedly begs her, "You said you wouldn't leave me." What does this chaotic, drug-induced outburst reveal about his true feelings, given how much he tried to suppress them?
Well, it raises that interesting question, doesn't it, about the truth that emerges in altered states of consciousness. While under the influence, Johnny sheds all inhibitions. He's expressing profound feelings he had previously attempted to suppress or deny.
So you think it's real?
It strongly implies these deep emotions are genuinely present, perhaps even more powerfully than he himself consciously understands or admits in a normal state. The repetition of "I love you," his vivid desires for a future with her, including children, it suggests this deep underlying romantic and familial attachment that he's been battling, trying to intellectualize away.
And the fear of abandonment.
His raw fear of abandonment, those desperate pleas for her to stay, they confirm the depth of his attachment, even amidst the chaos of his medical situation. It's chaotic, yes, but ultimately revealing. A glimpse into his true feelings, confirming what his actions had already started to hint at, that this connection transcends mere physical attraction or fleeting interest.
And Shannon's steadfast presence throughout this whole ordeal. Despite her own guilt, she says, this is my fault. And her discomfort, it's truly remarkable.
Mhm.
She remains by his side, offering quiet assurances like, you're going to be okay, and I'll stay with you.
Her loyalty there is incredible.
She doesn't flinch, even when he's blurting out these very public, very intimate declarations. She's his anchor in that moment.
Her unwavering presence in this intensely vulnerable moment, it speaks volumes about her deep loyalty, her concern for Johnny. Despite the embarrassment of his public declarations, her own internal turmoil, particularly that self-blame, which is a painful echo of her past trauma, where she might feel responsible for bad outcomes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She prioritizes his emotional needs, offers comfort, companionship. Her quiet commitment to stay, I'll stay with you, it's this powerful, nonverbal affirmation of her feelings, demonstrating a profound care that transcends the chaos, the social awkwardness. It's a testament to the strength of their connection, even when tested under the most stressful public circumstances.
She really is that safe place to fall for him.
Just as he inadvertently became for her, yeah. It shows this reciprocal depth of commitment, of care, that is foundational to true intimacy.
Okay, as we move into the final section, the aftermath and enduring complexities upon waking, Johnny's immediate focus is his injury. He asks, how long am I out on injury? The narrative describes his anguish saying, devastation checked into my heartbreak hotel.
Back to reality.
Exactly. This swift return to career concerns after his hospital declarations is striking. It's almost as if the vulnerability disappeared with the drugs and his primary self-protective mechanism just reasserted itself.
This recenters Johnny's primary conflict, doesn't it? His ambition versus his personal feelings. His overwhelming focus on the injury, even post-revelation, underscores how deeply ingrained his rugby identity is, how quickly his rational, career-driven mind reasserts itself once the chemical disinhibition wears off.
And that phrase, losing more than I already had.
Yeah, it suggests this profound connection between his self-worth and his athletic performance. It implies the injury feels like this personal failure that eclipses even the emotional declarations he made. And in this vulnerable state, he consciously pushes Shannon away, stating, I didn't want her to see me break down. I couldn't lose her too.
Why does he think he'd lose her?
It's a classic self-protective mechanism. He fears that showing weakness will lead to abandonment. It illustrates his ongoing struggle with vulnerability, with control. He associates vulnerability with loss, and he believes he cannot afford to lose Shannon by showing her his brokenness. It's a defense against perceived further pain.
So even after all that raw honesty in the hospital, his ingrained self-preservation kicks back in. He's still terrified of revealing his ugly side, his weaknesses. Even to someone who has just proved her unwavering support, has literally seen him at his most vulnerable.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it? About his deep-seated fears of abandonment, how much his identity is tied to his physical strength, his career. He's reverting to what he knows, what feels safe, maybe, in a world that demands perfection from him.
It's a tragic irony, really. The very person who proved she wouldn't leave him is the one he feels compelled to push away to protect himself.
It absolutely is. His return to self-protective mode immediately upon regaining full consciousness reveals the deeply ingrained nature of his coping mechanisms. The fear of being truly seen in a state of weakness or defeat is profound for him, deeply connected to his sense of masculine identity, professional worth. By pushing Shannon away, he attempts to control the narrative of his vulnerability, rather than allowing her to witness his full breakdown. This behavior highlights the immense internal battle he continues to fight, where his deep feelings for Shannon are constantly at odds with his fear of exposing his deepest insecurities and potentially jeopardizing his entire future as he perceives it.
But then, in a moment of quiet intimacy, Shannon takes a huge step. She finally shares her most painful secret, a truth she had guarded fiercely, the identity of the person who hurt her, my father. This is the implied source of those marks, the trauma he had questioned earlier.
Wow, that is immense.
It's a huge step for Shannon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially given her history of guarding her past, avoiding drama at all costs.
This confession is the culmination of Shannon's journey into vulnerability. It's a profound act of trust. Having witnessed Johnny's raw honesty in the hospital, experienced his unconditional presence, his protection, she finally entrusts him with the root of her deepest pain, the source of her deepest scars.
She feels safe enough.
It demonstrates a profound level of trust, yes. The safe space he has inadvertently created for her. A space where she finally feels secure enough to drop her defenses. This shared burden, the willingness to reveal such a traumatic secret, it signifies a significant deepening of their emotional bond, one built on mutual revelation, acceptance.
And it puts a weight on Johnny too, right?
It implies a profound responsibility for Johnny, yes. He had previously promised to protect her, to find out who was hurting her. Now he knows the terrifying truth. And the burden of that secret is now shared, a true mark of intimacy. This isn't just a story anymore, it's a shared trauma.
So after all these intensely personal, private revelations between them, the world outside their bubble begins to react. Johnny's dad reveals the coach told me all about the compromise and position he found you and Shannon in, implying potential repercussions for both from the school.
The consequences start rolling in.
Yeah, and Johnny's mother was freaked out by his hospital declarations. What does this broader awareness mean for their journey ahead?
Well, these external reactions highlight the continuing pressures they face. Their relationship, however nascent, however private they tried to keep it, is already under public scrutiny, which will undoubtedly influence their choices, their challenges going forward. It reinforces that their connection, while powerful, comes with significant social, institutional risks beyond their personal feelings.
Especially for Johnny.
Especially given Johnny's precarious career situation, the need for him to keep his nose squeaky clean for the academy. The coach's awareness, Johnny's mother's freaked out reaction, they indicate that their deep dive into vulnerability is now happening under a spotlight, making their choices incredibly complex.
And that core conflict remains.
The conflict between his deep affection and his athletic aspirations remains completely unresolved. It's captured perfectly by Gibbs's insightful observation. It's your heart you're losing, lad. This suggests their story is far from over. It's filled with ongoing emotional, practical challenges. Their connection will continue to be tested by these external forces, these internal conflicts, demanding immense resilience from both of them.
So as we bring this deep dive to a close, we've really journeyed through this landscape of raw emotion, high stakes, the complex dance between two people just trying to navigate their truths. We've seen how profound connections can emerge in the most unexpected ways, challenging personal ambitions, forcing confrontations with long-held fears, long-held secrets. It's a story of unexpected connection, hidden burdens, and, well, the immense courage it takes to truly be seen by another person.
It really is. So what does this all mean for us, the listeners? Maybe consider this. In a world where we often curate and protect our public images, often out of fear or ambition, what does it truly take to reveal our deepest vulnerabilities, our most painful secrets to another?
That's a deep question.
And what are the real costs and maybe the profound transformative rewards of that kind of radical honesty and trust, not just for the individuals involved like Johnny and Shannon, but for the very possibility of deep human connection itself?